The morning sun shone on the Han River as Dr. Han Jiwoo looked through his binoculars. He watched a family of otters playing in the water. The small animals slid down the muddy bank and splashed into the clean water. Han smiled. After many years of hard work, Earth's rivers were finally healing. "They seem happy today," said Park Duna, standing beside him. She held a tablet that showed readings of the river's health. "Yes, it's hard to believe that only 30 years ago you couldn't find a single otter in this river," Han replied. He lowered his binoculars and looked at his friend and fellow scientist. The year was 2157. After centuries of pollution and environmental damage, humans had finally learned their lesson. For the past 50 years, people across Earth had worked together to clean the waters, plant trees, and bring back animals that had nearly died out. Park checked her readings again. The water quality is perfect. The fish population is growing. The river otters are now at their highest numbers in 200 years. Han was about to answer when his phone buzzed. He looked at the screen and his eyes grew wide. "What is it?" Park asked. "They're here," Han said simply. "The aliens have arrived." 3 days later, Han stood with 20 other scientists and world leaders on a field outside Seoul. A large ship like a metal beetle hovered above them. It was 10 times bigger than the largest human aircraft. "I can't believe they chose Korea as their first landing spot," Park whispered, standing next to Han in her formal blue suit. "They said they admire our environmental recovery program," Han replied. "Of all Earth's nations, Korea has restored its rivers and forests the fastest." A door opened in the bottom of the ship. A ramp extended down. Han held his breath. The aliens that walked down the ramp looked like tall, thin insects walking on 2 legs. They had 4 arms and hard outer shells that shone in different colors. Their heads had large eyes that seemed to look in all directions at once. The first alien approached the human delegation. It wore what looked like a metal collar around its neck. When it spoke, the collar translated its clicks and buzzes into human language. "Greetings, people of Earth. We are the Krav. We come in peace and friendship." The world president stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth. We are honored by your visit." Han studied the aliens carefully. As a xenobiologist, a scientist who studied alien life, this was the moment he had trained for his whole life. The lead Krav turned its head, and its large eyes focused on Han. "You are Dr. Han Jiwoo, correct? The famous xenobiologist." Han was surprised. "Yes, I am. How did you know?" "We have been watching your broadcasts. Your work to restore Earth's biodiversity is known to us. We find it fascinating." Something in the way the alien said fascinating made Han feel uneasy, but he pushed the feeling away. This was a historic moment. First contact with an alien species. Later that day, as the Krav delegates met with world leaders, Han and Park walked along the river near the meeting place. "They seem peaceful enough," Park said. "Yes," Han agreed. "But did you notice how interested they were in our waterways? They asked more questions about our rivers than about our people or technology." Park nodded. "They've requested permission to study our freshwater ecosystems. They say they want to learn from our restoration work." Han stopped and watched an otter swim past, its sleek body cutting through the water. "I hope that's all they want to learn." Park gave him a strange look. "What else would they want?" Han shrugged. "I don't know, but I've spent my life studying living things. And one thing I've learned is that nothing travels across the stars without a very good reason." As they walked back to the meeting, Han didn't notice the small, shiny object that dropped from the Krav ship into the river behind him. The tiny device sank to the bottom and began to pulse with a faint blue light. 3 months had passed since the Krav arrived on Earth. The aliens had set up research stations along many rivers. They said they wanted to learn about Earth's water systems. Most people were happy to have the aliens around. Han was not so sure. He sat in his lab, looking at water samples from the Han River. Something did not seem right. "Park, come look at this," he called to his colleague. Park Duna crossed the room and looked into Han's microscope. "What am I seeing?" "I don't know exactly," Han said. "But these tiny particles weren't in our river 3 months ago." Park adjusted the microscope. "They look artificial, too perfect to be natural." Han's phone rang. It was Kim Chun-ho, who ran the Korean River Otter Sanctuary near Busan. "Han, we have a problem." Kim's voice was tight with worry. 3 otters died last night. No signs of injury or illness. They just stopped living. Han felt a chill run down his back. "We'll be there tomorrow." The Otter Sanctuary was a large area with clean rivers and protected land. Kim met Han and Park at the entrance. His face looked tired and sad. "2 more died this morning," Kim said as he led them to the research building. "I've worked with otters for 15 years. I've never seen anything like this." Inside, Kim showed them the dead otters lying on metal tables. They looked peaceful, as if they were sleeping. "No signs of poison in their blood," Kim explained. "No injuries. Their organs all look normal. It's like they just turned off." Han took samples from the otters while Park tested the water in the sanctuary. After a few hours, they met again in Kim's office. "I found those same particles in the water here," Park said. "And they're in higher numbers than in Seoul. And I found something strange in the otter tissue," Han added. "Tiny machines, so small you can barely see them with our strongest microscopes." Kim looked confused. "Machines? You mean like robots?" "Nanites," Han explained. "Tiny robots that can move through water and into living things." "Are they from the Krav?" Kim asked. Han nodded slowly. "I think so. This technology is beyond what humans can make." Park opened her tablet computer and showed them a map. "Reports are coming in from around the world. River otters are dying everywhere, always near where the Krav have their research stations. We need to talk to the aliens," Kim said. "Not yet," Han replied. "We need more proof first." The next day, Han visited the main Krav research station outside Seoul. He brought water testing equipment, claiming he wanted to compare notes with the aliens. The Krav scientist named Tuskvex met him at the entrance. The alien's blue shell gleamed in the sunlight. "Dr. Han, we are pleased by your interest in our work," Tuskvex said through the translator. "I've noticed some changes in our river life," Han said carefully, "especially among otters." The alien's large eyes blinked rapidly. "Otters? Ah yes, the small water mammals. Fascinating creatures." "They're dying," Han said directly. "Did you know that?" Tuskvex's 4 hands moved in a pattern Han couldn't understand. "That is unfortunate. Perhaps it is a natural disease." "Perhaps," Han agreed, but he noticed how the alien's body language had changed. As they toured the facility, Han secretly took samples when the alien wasn't looking. Outside one room, he heard strange clicking sounds. When he asked what was inside, Tuskvex quickly led him away. "Just storage," the alien said. "Nothing interesting." Later that night, Han looked at his new samples under the microscope. The water near the Krav station had 10 times more nanites than any other place. Han called Park and Kim. "I think the Krav are poisoning our rivers," he said, "but we need to know why." "The government won't believe us without solid proof," Park said. "Then we'll get proof," Han replied. "I'm going back tonight. There's a room they didn't want me to see." "That's dangerous," Kim warned. "So is doing nothing," Han said, looking at pictures of dead otters on his screen. "Someone has to protect them." Han waited until midnight before returning to the Krav research station. The building was mostly dark, with only a few lights showing through windows. He wore black clothes and carried a small bag with tools. Getting past the front gate was easy. The Krav trusted humans and had little security. Han moved quietly along the wall of the building until he found a side door. Using a small device Park had made, he unlocked it and slipped inside. The hallways were empty and quiet. Han remembered the way to the mysterious room from his earlier visit. When he reached the door, he listened first. Hearing nothing, he used Park's device again to unlock it. Inside, Han froze. The room was filled with large glass tanks. Each tank contained water and several otters. The animals floated lifelessly. Machines next to the tanks hummed softly, pumping liquids in and out of the water. Han took pictures with his phone and collected water samples. Then he noticed a computer screen on the wall. It showed text in the Krav language. Han took pictures of this too, hoping Park could translate it later. Suddenly, he heard footsteps in the hallway. Han quickly hid behind one of the tanks. 2 Krav entered the room, their insect-like bodies moving with sharp, quick movements. "The process is working well," one said to the other. "Soon all rivers will be clean of the water demons." "Yes," the second Krav replied. The sacred texts were clear. "These creatures block our connection to the water spirits. They must be removed before we can properly use Earth's waters." Han stayed very still, hardly breathing. The Krav checked some readings on the machines, then left the room. Han waited 10 minutes before moving again. Back at his apartment, Han called Park and Kim. Even though it was 3 a.m., they both answered. "I found something terrible," Han said. He sent them the pictures and explained what he had seen and heard. "They're killing otters because of some religious belief?" Kim asked, his voice angry. "It seems so," Han replied. "They think otters are some kind of demons." Park had been looking at the pictures of the Krav text. "I've been studying their language. This says something about purification and preparation for the great water change." "What does that mean?" Kim asked. "I think," Han said slowly, "they're planning to change our rivers somehow. Make them more like their home world's waters." "That would destroy our ecosystem," Park said. "Everything we've worked to restore would die." "We need to tell the government," Kim suggested. Han shook his head. "The government loves the Krav. They've been sharing all kinds of technology. No one will believe us without more proof." "Then what do we do?" Park asked. Han thought for a moment. "We need help from other scientists, people we can trust." "I know someone," Kim said. "Lee Minha, an AI programmer. She could help us analyze the nanites." "Good," Han said. "And we need to start saving some otters. If the Krav are killing them all, we need to protect as many as we can." "I can move some to our backup facility in the mountains," Kim offered. "It's remote. The Krav don't know about it." "Do it," Han agreed. "Move as many as you can, as quietly as you can." Over the next few days, they contacted trusted colleagues, scientists, engineers, and conservationists who cared about Earth's recovery. 10 people joined their group. They called themselves Operation Riverbank. At their first meeting, Han showed everyone the evidence. "The Krav are systematically killing all river otters," he explained. "They've released nanites into rivers worldwide. These tiny machines target otter DNA." "But why?" someone asked. Han pointed to Park's translations of the Krav texts. "They believe otters block their connection to water. It's a religious thing for them. And they're planning something bigger, something that will change our rivers forever." Everyone in the room looked serious. They were just a small group of scientists against an advanced alien species, but they had one advantage. "The Krav don't know we're onto them," Han said. "And they don't know how stubborn humans can be when protecting what they love." 1 week later, Operation Riverbank met in Kim's mountain facility. The building was hidden in a forest, far from any main roads. Inside, large tanks held 20 river otters that Kim had managed to save. "These may be the last healthy otters in Korea," Kim said sadly. "Reports show that 90% of wild otters are already dead." Lee Minha, the AI programmer, connected her computer to a large screen on the wall. She was small with short hair and quick hands. "I've analyzed the nanites," she said. "They're incredibly advanced. They find otters by looking for specific DNA patterns. Then they shut down the animal's nervous system." "Can we stop them?" Han asked. Lee nodded. Maybe. I've been working on something. She pulled out what looked like a toy bird. This is a drone. It looks like a duck, but inside it has special tools. It can find nanites in the water and count them. That's good, Park said. But how do we destroy the nanites? I'm working on that too, Lee replied. The nanites seem sensitive to certain electromagnetic frequencies. A strong enough pulse might disable them. Han looked at the otters swooning in the tanks. They seemed happy and healthy. We need more safe places for otters. And we need to find a way to clean the rivers. I've been thinking about that, Kim said. I have some old friends who work at water treatment plants. They might help us secretly. Park had been quiet, studying data on her tablet. Now she looked up. I've translated more crab documents. It's worse than we thought. They plan to change Earth's rivers to match their home planet's chemistry. They call it water harmonization. That would kill everything in our rivers, Han said. Not just otters. All fish, plants, everything. And the government still won't listen? Lee asked. Han shook his head. The crab are sharing technology. New energy systems, advanced medicine. World leaders don't want to risk losing that. Then we work alone, Kim said firmly. Over the next month, Operation Riverbank grew. More scientists joined. They set up 3 more secret facilities to protect otters. Lee's duck drones monitored rivers across the country. Han was working late one night when his phone rang. It was Choi Sunwoo, an old friend who worked for the government. Han, I need to see you, Choi said, his voice low and worried. It's about the crab. They met the next day in a quiet park. Choi looked around nervously before speaking. I've seen things, he said. The crab have built something at their main facility. A huge machine. They told us it's a water purification system, but I'm not sure. What do you think it is? Han asked. I don't know, but they're building them near every major river system worldwide. And they're rushing to finish them. Han told Choi about the nanites and the otters. Choi listened, his face growing more troubled. I thought something was wrong, Choi said finally. The crab avoid rivers with dead otters. They won't go near them. It's like they're afraid. Han thought about this. Maybe the otters aren't just in the way of their plans. Maybe they're actually a threat somehow. Back at the mountain facility, Han shared this new information. If the crab are afraid of otters, that's important, Park said. We need to find out why. I have an idea, Lee said. She had been studying a nanite under a microscope. These machines communicate with each other. They send out tiny signals. What if otters naturally disrupt those signals? Like radio interference? Kim asked. Exactly, Lee said, getting excited. What if otter bodies naturally create a field that blocks crab technology? Han looked at the otters with new respect. That would explain the religious angle. The crab think otters are demons because they interfere with their technology. So the otters aren't just victims, Park said. They might be Earth's natural defense against the crab. If that's true, Han said, then saving the otters isn't just about protecting one species. It might be the key to saving all of Earth's rivers. For the first time since the crisis began, Han felt a small spark of hope. Humans had always been good at turning weakness into strength. And now, the smallest, most playful river creatures might be their greatest weapon. It works, Lee shouted, her eyes wide with excitement. The team gathered around her computer screen. For 2 weeks, Operation Riverbank had been testing their theory about otters. Now they had proof. On the screen, they could see how the signals from crab nanites became weaker when near an otter. The effect is small with just one otter, Lee explained. But with many otters together, the disruption is much stronger. Han nodded. That's why the crab want to kill all otters. The animals block their technology. But how do otters do this? Park asked. Something in their biology, Lee said. Their bodies naturally create a field that interferes with the crab's signals. It's like radio static. Kim, who had been listening quietly, spoke up. We need to protect more otters, and we need to make this effect stronger somehow. The team agreed. They made a new plan with three main parts. First, Kim would build better water filters to clean rivers of nanites. Second, Lee would make counter-nanites, tiny machines that could fight the crab nanites. Third, Park would lead missions to find and rescue more otters in the wild. We should also find a better hiding place, Han said. Somewhere the crab won't look. Choi suggested an old dam in the mountains. The government had closed it years ago. Underground rooms there could hold many water tanks for otters. We'll call it Haven, Han decided. 3 days later, Han and Kim visited the dam. It was perfect, remote, and forgotten. They began moving equipment there right away. Meanwhile, Park and a small team searched rivers at night, looking for surviving otters. They found very few. The crab poison had been very effective. We found only 3 otters today, Park told Han when she returned to Haven. And one is very sick. Han helped her carry the animals inside. The sick otter was small, its breathing shallow. Will it live? Park asked as Kim examined the animal. I don't know, Kim said, but I'll try my best. Lee worked day and night on her counter nanites. She designed tiny machines that could find and disable the crab nanites. Her first tests in small water tanks showed promise. The counter nanites attack the crab machines, she explained to the team. But we need many more to clean a whole river. Can you make enough? Han asked. Lee sighed. Not with our current equipment. We need a bigger lab. Choi had an idea. There's a research facility near Daejeon. It's not being used right now. I could get us access. Is it safe? Han asked. As safe as anywhere, Choi replied. The crab don't pay attention to old human labs. Han agreed. The team was growing, now with 30 members. They needed more space and better equipment. At Haven, Kim had a breakthrough with the water filters. He found a way to remove nanites from small bodies of water. It wasn't enough for a whole river, but it could create safe pools for otters. Look, Kim called to Han one evening. In one of the large tanks, a female otter had given birth to 3 tiny kits. The baby otters were small and helpless, their eyes still closed. New life, Han said softly. The first otters born in safety. The mother otter swam protectively around her babies. The sight filled Han with determination. These creatures weren't just Earth's natural defense against the crab, they were also worth saving for their own sake. Later that night, Park returned from another rescue mission. She looked tired but happy. We found 5 more otters, she reported. And something else. She held up a small device. I took this from a crab research station. It's some kind of data storage. Lee took the device and connected it to her computer. Her eyes widened as she read the screen. This is big, she said. Really big. The crab are planning something in 3 days. Something called the Great Harmonization. What is it? Han asked. I'm not sure yet, Lee replied. But it involves all their river machines activating at once, and they're very worried about otters interfering. Han felt a chill. They were running out of time. The small group of scientists had to stop a planet-wide alien plan, and their only allies were playful river animals that most of humanity had forgotten about. Then we better work faster, Han said. The otters need us, and Earth needs the otters. The next morning, Han was woken by Choi calling him. Turn on the news, Choi said. His voice sounded worried. Han grabbed his tablet and turned on the news feed. The crab ambassador was speaking at the United Nations. Behind him stood the world's leaders, all smiling. Today, we offer humanity a great gift, the ambassador said. Our water purification systems are now ready. We will make all Earth's rivers clean and perfect. In return, we ask only for exclusive rights to all major waterways. The world president stepped forward and shook the crab's hand. This historic agreement will benefit all people. The crab technology will ensure clean water for generations to come. Han called an emergency meeting at Haven. Everyone gathered in the main room. The Krav are moving faster than we thought, Han said. They've convinced world leaders to give them control of all major rivers. But we know what they really want, Park said. Their purification will kill everything in our waters and make them like their home planet. Lee had been working all night on the stolen Krav device. I've translated more of their plans, she said. The great harmonization isn't just cleaning the rivers. They're going to change the water chemistry completely. It will become toxic to Earth life, but perfect for Krav biology. It's terraforming, Kim said. Or rather, Krav forming. They're changing Earth to suit themselves. Why don't they just use their own planet? Someone asked. The device has that information too, Lee explained. Their world is dying. Too many Krav, not enough resources. Earth is their new home. The room went quiet as everyone understood the full truth. The Krav weren't just visitors or researchers. They were invaders. Han looked at their small group of scientists and engineers. We have to stop them. But how? Park asked. The whole world trusts them. We make everyone see the truth, Han decided. Choi, can you get us access to the global broadcast system? Choi looked uncertain. Maybe. I have some friends in communications, but what would we show? Everything, Han said. The dead otters, the nanites, the Krav's real plans. While Choi made calls, Lee continued studying the Krav device. Suddenly, she gasped. I found something important, she said. The Krav aren't just afraid of otters. They're terrified of them. On their homeworld, they had animals similar to otters. Those animals carried a virus that was deadly to Krav. Do Earth otters have this virus? Kim asked. Lee shook her head. No, but the Krav don't know that. They're killing otters because they're afraid of what they might carry. This gave Han an idea. What if we use their fear against them? Make them think otters are more dangerous than they really are. Before they could discuss this further, alarms sounded throughout Haven. Park checked the security cameras. Krav ships, she reported. 3 of them, coming this way. How did they find us? Kim asked. They must have tracked our rescue missions, Han said. Everyone, grab what you can. We need to evacuate. The team rushed to save their equipment and the otters. They loaded animals into special transport tanks and carried them to trucks. Han helped Kim with the mother otter and her babies. As they worked, Han noticed something on the security screen. The Krav ships were hovering over the river near Haven, but they weren't landing. They're staying away from the water, Han realized, because we have otters here. This gave him another idea. Kim, how many otters do we have now? 42, Kim answered. Why? And how many safe locations do we have besides Haven? 4 small facilities, Kim said, but they're not as good as this place. Han looked at the mother otter swimming protectively around her babies. Then he looked at the Krav ships keeping their distance. I think it's time we stopped running, Han said. The Krav fear otters, and with good reason. Because now, otters have humans protecting them. Han gathered everyone together. I have a plan, he said. We're not going to hide anymore. We're going to fight back. And we're going to use the Krav's fear against them. For the first time, Operation Riverbank wasn't just trying to survive. They were preparing to take action against the Krav and their plan to steal Earth's waters. The new headquarters for Operation Riverbank was an old water treatment plant. It had large tanks perfect for otters and good lab spaces. Best of all, it was right next to a river, which made the Krav afraid to come too close. Lee had been working day and night in her new lab. Now she called everyone together. I've done it, she said, holding up a small vial of clear liquid. These are special nanites that can protect otters from the Krav poison. How do they work? Han asked. They attach to otter cells and create a shield, Lee explained. The Krav nanites can't recognize the otters anymore. Can we test it? Park asked. Lee nodded. I already did, on water samples with Krav nanites. It works perfectly. This was the breakthrough they needed. Now they could protect the remaining otters from being killed, but they still had to stop the great harmonization. Kim spoke up. I've been studying how otters disrupt crab signals. I think we can make this effect stronger. He showed them his research. The otter's body created a natural field that interfered with crab technology. With Lee's help, they might be able to amplify this effect. If we combine my protective nanites with Kim's amplifier, Lee said, we could turn otters into powerful jamming devices against crab technology. Han looked at the team. How soon can we make this work? A few days, Lee said. But we need to test it first. We don't have much time, Choi warned. The Krav have announced the great harmonization will happen in 5 days. Han made a decision. Park, take a team and give the protective nanites to our otters here. Kim and Lee finished the amplifier. Choi and I will try again to warn people about what's really happening. Everyone got to work. Park and her team carefully gave the protective nanites to each otter. The animals didn't seem bothered by the treatment. In the lab, Kim and Lee worked on the amplifier. They needed to create something that would make the otter's natural disruption effect much stronger. Meanwhile, Han and Choi created a video showing all their evidence. They included footage of dead otters, the Krav secret documents, and Lee's analysis of the Great Harmonization Plan. If we broadcast this, will people believe us? Han asked. Choi looked uncertain. Some will, some won't, but we have to try. On the 3rd day, they got new information from one of Choi's government contacts. The Krav were moving their ships into position over major rivers worldwide. The Great Harmonization would happen in just 2 days. That night, Lee burst into the meeting room. It works, she shouted. The amplifier works. She showed them test results. An otter with both the protective nanites and the amplifier created a disruption field 10 times stronger than normal. Strong enough to shut down crab technology completely if the otter was close enough. So we need to get otters near all the Krav River machines, Park asked. Exactly, Lee said. Their presence will disable the machines. But we only have 42 otters, Kim pointed out. And there are hundreds of crab machines worldwide. Han thought for a moment. We need to focus on the control centers. The Krav must have main stations that control the others. Choi checked his information. There are 5 main control centers, 1 on each continent. Then we split into teams, Han decided. Each team takes some otters to a control center. The Krav will be guarding them, Park warned. Yes, Han agreed, but they won't expect us to bring otters right to them. They're too afraid of them. Lee had one more piece of good news. I found a way to help the otters reproduce faster. If we succeed, we can rebuild their population quickly. That night, the team prepared for their mission. They loaded otters into special transport tanks. Each otter had been treated with protective nanites and the amplifier. They were now Earth's secret weapon against the alien invaders. Han looked at the small, playful animals swimming in their tanks. The fate of Earth's rivers, maybe all of Earth, now depended on these creatures that the Krav had tried so hard to destroy. Get ready, Han told his team. Tomorrow, we take the fight to the Krav. Dawn broke over the city as Han's team prepared to move. They had named their mission Operation Playful Waters. 5 teams would target the 5 Krav control centers around the world. Han led the Korean team. Park would go to North America. Kim was heading to Europe. Lee would take a team to Australia. And Choi would lead the South American team. Remember, Han told everyone, get the otters as close to the Krav machines as possible. Their disruption field will do the rest. Each team had 8 otters in special water tanks. The animals had been treated with protective nanites and the amplifier. They were now much more than simple river creatures. They were Earth's defenders. Han's team loaded their equipment into 2 vans and drove toward Seoul. The main Korean control center was in the heart of the city, on an island in the Han River. The Krav chose water locations for all their control centers, Han explained as they drove. They need direct contact with the rivers for the great harmonization. When they reached the river, they saw the Krav building. It was a tall metal structure with pipes extending into the water. Krav guards patrolled around it. "How do we get past them?" asked Minjai, a young scientist who had joined recently. Han pointed to small boats docked nearby. "We go by water. The Krav avoid water where otters might be." They loaded the otter tanks onto 2 boats and slowly moved toward the island. Just as Han had predicted, the Krav guards backed away when they saw what was in the tanks. "They really are afraid of them," Minja said with wonder. Han nodded. "Fear can be a powerful weapon." They reached the island and quickly moved toward the building. Inside, they found a large machine humming with energy. Pipes connected it to the river. "This must be it," Han said. "The control center for Asia." He checked his phone. The other teams were in position at their locations too. It was time. "Release the otters," Han ordered. They opened the tanks. The otters slid into the water around the machine. At first, nothing happened. Then lights on the machine began to flicker. Han's phone buzzed with messages from the other teams. The same thing was happening at all 5 locations. The otters' disruption fields were working. Suddenly, alarms sounded throughout the building. A door opened and 3 Krav rushed in. They stopped when they saw the otters swimming around their machine. "What have you done?" the lead Krav asked, its translator voice shaking. "We've stopped your great harmonization," Han replied. "Your technology doesn't work when otters are near." "You don't understand," the Krav said. "You're ruining everything. Earth's waters will be perfect for us." "But poisoned for every Earth creature," Han replied. "That's not going to happen." The machine's lights were now blinking rapidly. Sparks flew from its control panel. "You must remove those creatures," the Krav insisted. "The harmonization process is delicate. If it fails now, the damage could be catastrophic." Han felt a moment of doubt. What if they were making things worse? Then his phone buzzed again. It was Lee. "The Krav machines are trying to start the process early," she texted. "But they're failing because of the otters." Han understood now. The Krav were desperate. They were trying to trick him. "I think we'll keep the otters right where they are," Han told the Krav. "Unless you'd like to leave Earth. For good." The lead Krav made a strange clicking sound. Then it spoke into a device on its arm. Moments later, they heard the sound of ships taking off. "They're retreating," Minja said, looking out the window. "The Krav ships are leaving." All around the world, Krav ships were rising into the sky. Their plan had failed. Earth's rivers were defended by the very creatures they had tried to eliminate. Han watched as the otters played in the water around the disabled machine. The small animals splashed and dove, unaware of the huge role they had just played in saving their planet. "It worked," Han said, smiling at his team. "The otters won." But even as he said it, Han knew this wasn't over. The Krav were leaving, but would they come back? And what about the poison still in many rivers? There was still much work to do. But for now, they had won the first battle in the war for Earth's waters. 6 months had passed since the Krav left Earth. Han stood on the bank of the Han River, watching otters play in the clean water. The animals chased each other, sliding into the river with small splashes. "They look happy," Park said, joining him. She had returned from North America just yesterday. "They should be," Han replied. "They saved our planet." After the Krav retreat, Operation Riverbank had gone public with their story. At first, many people didn't believe them. But Choi had recorded the Krav confession at the control center. The video showed the aliens admitting their plan to change Earth's waters. World leaders had no choice but to accept the truth. The Krav had not been friends but invaders with a clever plan. "How are the river cleanups going?" Han asked. "Good," Park said. "Lee's counter-nanites are working well. Most major rivers are now free of Krav poison." This was the work that had kept them busy for months. Even with the Krav gone, their nanites remained in many rivers. Lee had created special machines that released counter-nanites to find and destroy the alien technology. And the otter population? Han asked. Park smiled. Growing faster than we expected. Kim's work is amazing. We now have over 300 otters in protected areas. Soon we can release more into the wild. Han nodded, feeling proud of what they had accomplished. Not just saving Earth from alien invasion, but also bringing back a species that had almost been lost. His phone buzzed. It was a message from Lee. Come to the lab. Important discovery. At the lab, Lee showed them something on her computer screen. It was a signal from space. The Krav? Han asked, suddenly worried. Lee shook her head. No, different signature completely. I think it's another alien species. Are they coming here? Park asked. I'm not sure, Lee replied. But look at this. She pointed to a pattern in the signal. They're sending the same message over and over. And I've translated part of it. Han read the translated text. Beware Krav. Planet with water defenders. They're warning others about us, Park realized. About our otters. Han felt a strange mix of pride and concern. Earth was now known in space, known as a planet with special defenses. We should prepare, he said, just in case. Over the next few weeks, they developed a plan. The United Nations created a new agency called the Riverbank Protocol. Its job was to monitor space and protect Earth's water systems. Han was named its first director. Kim expanded the otter sanctuaries, creating a network that covered all major river systems worldwide. Each sanctuary had special equipment to monitor for alien technology. Lee developed better versions of her duck drones. These new drones patrolled rivers day and night, checking water quality and looking for unusual activity. Park led a global education program, teaching people about the importance of otters and clean rivers. Children everywhere learned how the playful river creatures had saved Earth. 1 year after the Krav left, Han stood at the opening of a new otter sanctuary. Crowds of people had come to see the animals that had helped save their planet. Are we ready if the Krav return? A reporter asked him. Han watched as otters swam in the clear river water behind him. We are ready for any threat, he said. Earth's waters are now the best protected places on our planet. That evening, Han sat alone by the river. An otter approached, curious but cautious. It looked at Han with bright eyes, then slipped into the water and swam away. Han smiled. Humans had always thought they would defend Earth alone. They had prepared for war with advanced weapons and technology. But in the end, their strongest allies had been small, playful river creatures that most people had forgotten about. The Krav had tried to poison the rivers. They had nearly destroyed the otters, but they hadn't counted on human determination or the special bond that could form between species. Now, somewhere in space, other aliens knew Earth was protected, not just by humans, but by the remarkable creatures that shared their world. Earth's rivers flowed clean and free. And in those waters, the otters played on, guardians of a planet they had helped save.